just found out that Jon Landau died. Well, not just. It was like 10 or so minutes ago. Maybe more. Let me scroll up on the Discord. About 20 minutes ago, I found out that Jon Landau died of cancer. It's just now starting to process it, I think. I didn't think I would cry. You can see some glistening. Over the last year, we in the Avatar community have seen pictures of him. He's lost a lot of weight, and his eyes were being sunken. We theorized cancer, but we didn't want to believe it was true. But yeah, he died of cancer at the age of 63. I don't want to actually cry on camera. It's not the reason I'm not working on the fits today. I actually decided to do the mapping before I found out. I just added the RIP. Not that world. I just wanted to add the RIP for, well, because I just found out. There are three men that were vital to Avatar and Titanic. James Cameron, of course, writer and director. James Horner, composer, and Jon Landau, executive producer. I didn't feel like this about Horner. This didn't feel. Oh. When did Horner die? 2015? Yeah. June 2015. 9 years ago. Plane crash, if I remember correctly. Yep. Plane crash.
made up. Starting to think I won't actually stream today. I've never met any of the three men here. Jim, James, and John. I missed my chance for James and John. Though I'll definitely find out where they're buried and go to their gravestones. James and John were inseparable since Titanic. That's when they met. I think likewise with Horner, but James and John especially. Closer than brothers. I think I think part of the reason I didn't feel this affected when James Horner died was that they had yet to actually start filming Way of Water and Avatar 3. They had time to find a replacement, so to speak. He wasn't really a replacement. He was more of a student. It was Simon Franklin, or Franklin. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Franklin first. I first found about Franklin with the yeah, the soundtrack for Pandora, the World of Avatar. He and Horner had started work on it, I believe, and then Franklin took over. Yeah, construction in the area began January 2014, so Horner was alive for a year and a half after construction began, so he and Franklin probably worked together in that time. And then Franklin took over after his death and wrote the soundtrack for Way of Water, with plenty of homages to the first film, which were probably also now that I think about it, homages to Horner. You know what? I'm changing my stream title. I'm not gonna play Minecraft today. I also gotta change my announcements in the Discords. Give me some more time to process. So going through each server that I'm in. As executive producer of many of Jim's films, Jon often took on the public role while Jim so that Jim could focus on the films. Happened a lot during the press tours of Way of Water. Like, that's the first time I noticed that, and I'm kind of speculating on whether he did that for Titanic and Avatar. But he really was the public face of Avatar. With the theme park, he took on the public face as well. He dealt with Joe Rody and the Imagineers so that Jim could focus on the film. Well, the films, because they filmed 2 and 3 at the same time. And I have little doubt that Jon had a part in the McFarlane Toys collection and the Legos. Just interacting with those companies. I would have loved to meet him. We don't know yet what kind of cancer it was, but I don't really think that's relevant. I did do one thing for James Horner when he died. I quoted part of Avatar. One second. I quoted from the scene when Jake makes the final kill, because we don't actually have the dialogue from the actual funeral scene from Avatar. Ngati kamaya matsukan ute garu sei irayo. Garu hu ewa saneu tireya. I see you, brother, and thank you. Your spirit goes with Ewa. And of course, there's more to it, but that line was Jake thanking the next beat for feeding the Navi people. Yeah. Jon Landau's page on the wiki was recently updated. Gee, I wonder why. He was a few weeks away from being 64. Oh yeah, he also did Alita Battle Angel with Jim. Jim wrote that film, but it was too long. Well, he didn't make it because it was too long. He handed it off to Robert Rodriguez to see if he could trim down the script but maintain the spirit of the script, which he did, which is why it eventually got made. not sure I even want to raid someone tonight. And today. I don't want to ruin anyone's day. See if anyone else is talking about it, though. I wonder who the other producers for Avatar were. Oh. Looks like it was just James and Jon. At least according to that. Let's try IMDb. They tend to have a longer list. Okay, here we go. Here's a longer list. James and Jon obviously produced the film. Other producers were Richard Bainham, Maria Battle Campbell, David Valdez, and Bridget York. Bainham was the second unit director on Way of Water. He also did Battle Angel, Lord of the Rings Two Towers, Flight of Passage, Chronicles of Narnia, Return of the King, live action Scooby-Doo, Iron Giant. Those are visual effects. Some animation as well. He animated for Avatar. He was also a co-director for Flight of Passage. Maria. Second unit or assistant director. Way of Water. Stranger Things. Ender's Game. Haven't seen that, but I enjoyed the book. Real Steel. X-Men First Class. Avatar. Beowulf. Constantine, Van Helsing, Ang Lee Hulk, Men in Black 2. Some great films on that list. David Valdez, Way of Water, Battle Angel, Book of Eli, Green Mile. Some great films on that list too. Bridget York. Production manager on Way of Water, Ghost in the Shell, The Hobbit trilogy, King Kong, Return of the King. I think the sequels are in good hands. One of the concerns that's being brought up in the Discord servers that I'm in is whether or not Avatar 3 will be delayed because of this. Well, we won't know until they make an official announcement about it. I don't think so. It was going to come out this December, but not long after Way of Water came out, they looked at how much work they had to do and how much time they had, and I think it was maybe a year ago or whatever, Jon put out a post saying that it would be delayed another year. So Avatar 3 would be coming out December 2025. Just because of all the VFX they still had to do. I don't think it needs to be delayed. Again, Jim likes his December releases, so I don't see him delaying it a full year. However, yeah, I don't think it needs to be delayed. Maybe Jim takes a sabbatical. It wouldn't be long. He couldn't deal with a sabbatical that was too long. Which to deal with the grief and whatnot. So I'm sure he's feeling some grief right now. Especially since, like, I, who have never met Jon, only know him through the special features and the press tours. I can only imagine what Jim's going through right now. I don't know if there's a place that Jim would go to just be by himself. He's not really the kind of person to do that, as far as I know. He's a workaholic, after all, and a perfectionist. Maybe he goes to a lake or something little cabin in the forest. Just a process. But he'll be back to work. Avatar 3 would still be progressing. I'm sure most of the post-production crew is feeling things today. But they wouldn't stop making the film just because of the death of the second in command. They may take some time away. But they'll come back and just keep working on it. They'll come back and keep working on it. Finishing it for him. We know some plot details for Avatar 3. But we don't know a lot about what the character arcs are going to be. I personally believe that motherhood is going to be the major arc. Just because Neytiri dealing with the death of Neteyam. Neytiri dealing with Spider learning that Spider saved Quaritch. Kiri, we still have her whole parentage thing to work out. But aside from that, we don't know anything for sure. One thing the Avatar films are especially good at is getting the audience emotionally invested in the film. That's why Avatar is my favorite film of all time. I first saw Avatar April 2010, Earth Day. The DVD had just come out. I was in my commuter student group. Someone had gotten the DVD and put it in the DVD player. We started watching it. At the time, I was not in a good place emotionally. At some point in college, I had, well, specifically my second year of college, so between September and April, which actually blew my mind when I realized it was such a short period of time in my life. It feels a lot longer. But I got, at some point in my sophomore year of college, I had gotten tired of feeling anger and sadness. I just felt like garbage every time. So I forced myself to stop feeling the sadness and the anger. And it worked for a while. I didn't feel any sadness, any anger. People died. I didn't really have a reaction. People did garbage things that now would make me mad, but it's like, okay, you're a jerk. Go away. I was more annoyed at them than anything. And at some point that year, I'd realized that, well, yeah, I didn't feel anger or sadness anymore, but I also didn't feel any joy. Didn't feel any love. And that was the first feeling I'd felt in a while at that time. So I started working towards feeling again. Obviously, it worked. But it wasn't until that day in the commuter connection I watched Avatar. I started crying when Home Tree fell, and I felt joy. I felt joy at the end when the animals, when the creatures turned the tide of the final battle. I knew I had some way to go to get my emotions fully back, but that day, I knew that whatever I was doing was working. I'm gonna have a proper cry once I end stream, but trying to keep it together long enough until then. It's also why Inside Out is my favorite Pixar film. That came out 2015, I believe. Yeah. One second. The arc that Riley goes through in Inside Out. It's the arc that I went through. Avatar sometimes gets crap for being a reuse story. Just being a VFX demo reel. Yeah, well, there is a little bit of truth to that. Most of it's garbage, but those arguments still persist. those arguments have never affected me. Not just because I was emotionless for a while, and I will say this: there is one good thing about losing connection with your emotions, and that is that I'm sometimes able to switch off my emotions temporarily to deal with a tough situation logically and without emotional bias. And then I I let myself feel those emotions later once I've dealt with the problem in a way that I can go off and do that. I don't recommend. No, I'm gonna go even deeper. I refuse to suggest that anyone does the same. It was the worst. It was one of the worst periods of my life. It was primarily negative, with only that one positive. I don't wish it on anyone. Not on friends, not on enemies. I could try to do that now, but I don't want to. Inside Out, as well, may not be Pixar's best film. That probably goes to Toy Story 3. Or, Wall-E. I don't care. Avatar is my favorite film. Inside Out is my favorite Pixar film. I refuse to apologize for any of that. That's why I spent $750 on those Lego sets. Wait, 750? That's not right. 9 sets, yeah, 750 makes sense. That's why I spent $750 on the 9 Lego sets that came out. Just because I love this franchise. Oh, Avatar made me cry at the loss of Home Tree. Wave Water made me cry when Nateum died. I just know that Avatar 3 is going to make me cry. And then I'm going to cry again when I see Jon's name in the credits. And the In Memoriam, both in the film and at the Oscars next year. Rest in peace, Jon Landau. You will be forever missed.